Thank you, Karen. And thank you again for being here on this fourth Sunday in Lent, on this weekend of springing forward. Did everyone spring all the way? I don't think I've quite sprung yet. It felt like winter wonderland on Friday. It's just hard to believe, but I guess spring goes back and forth here for a while, doesn't it? I invite you now to take some deeper breaths as you're moved, letting ourselves arrive a bit more fully to hear whatever word is meant for us today. And as you are moved, I invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer. Gracious God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, our rock and our redeemer. Amen. America is in a united state of stress and disillusionment. Stress in America, a nation recovering from collective trauma. 2023, a year of era-defining crises and stress for Americans. These are all headlines that reflect something that seems to be a part of our collective life and culture right now. We are notably, measurably, certifiably more anxious and stressed and distressed. A poll done by the American Psychological Association after the pandemic found that Americans are anxious because of things like being disheartened by government and political divisiveness. We might raise our hand for some of these. Being dismayed by widespread violence, concerned for the future, worried about inflation, facing a barrage of external stressors that are mostly out of our control. Those were all listed as reasons why. I think the pandemic reminded us all how little control we really have over some things in the end. We do our best to forgive this, maybe to get through the days. We try to set up life in such a way that this truth is managed, that our fragility is sort of not at the forefront. And we do this with things like schedules and plans months and years out. We buy insurance and build savings accounts. But even those things aren't a guarantee. We can easily get ourselves into thinking that how things are is how they will be. And there is some comfort in that, even though it might be false. I bet there's a long list that we could create, but I came up with low interest rates, a restaurant fully staffed. Let's see, what are the list of things that are no longer? There's probably a lot more you could add. So I've been thinking that maybe part of the reason our collective anxiety, stress, and distress have increased is because more of us are living closer to the reality of how fragile all of this is. Our bodies, our planet, our relationships, our communities. And we were also made aware of how quickly things can shift. The illusion of anything else has been shattered. And living with this truth out in the open at first might make us feel more anxious. I think because it means we're paying attention in a different way. But part of how we don't stay there forever is understanding that it means we aren't numb. It means we haven't given up, which I believe gives us access to hope, which saves us from distress. As we heard from the poet Amanda Gorman, in this time all kinds of alarms are sounding, and we who are hearing them are called to respond. As you heard, she wrote, "This alarm is how we know we must be altered, that we must differ or die, triumph or try. And that may we not just act, but act." I think that's one way to be saved from distress, to be doing something that builds what we want to see more of, adding more love into the world however we can, taking our aches and putting them into action. And maybe that's one of the most important things we do as a church, providing opportunities to put our aches into action. And I know just yesterday, raise your hand, some of you showed up to build a house. to put aches into action. Raise your hand. I know it was a wonderful crew. Thank you, John, for remembering to take a picture. Love that we can help tell the story. And on Tuesday, a group of us gathered to kick off our chop saw team, which you'll hear more about later. But I know many of us have a real ache about gun violence in this country. And I left that meeting feeling so inspired of learning how to literally chop up unwanted firearms. I give thanks that part of what we do together is putting our ache into action. So that's the number one thing. I'm going to give you 3 things, but you can put your aches into action. I know for me that reduces my anxiety when I'm doing one thing regularly to help with some of the hurt in the world. The second thing is to spend more time with all that is steadfast, with all that is good. Part of what I mean is it gives me comfort to spend time in those mountains, knowing that even amid fears of the rise of white Christian nationalism, that won't endure, but those mountains will. I think we humans can be saved literally by the trees. And I saw a study that showed that spending time with the trees reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and improves our mood. Literally, spending time with the trees. So I wonder if that's part of how we will be saved from our distress, giving more time to our hands and feet in the soil, time with our face to the sky, time looking for the new life popping up as spring comes, listening for which birds are leading the choir today, what trees really belong. And if you get to hike with Maddie, she'll tell you all the details of every bird, new life thing that she sees. The third way I think we can reduce our stress and distress is giving more of ourselves to being undistracted. Not just outside with the trees, but with each other. It's increasingly clear that time is often treated as a commodity, even though we can't really get more of it. We can't buy it or trade it. Well, sometimes we talk about it that way, like I can get more time or buy time. I'm finding that not living in the past or in the future, but right here, also reduces my anxiety. When I've allowed myself to be in the more now, as Philip said, with the story for all ages, to look up and down and breathe deeply and to notice fully as a spiritual practice. One of the readings at our contemplative service over Lent, written by Christine Paintner, and she speaks about Lent as a time from fasting, from multitasking. She says, when we try to accomplish too many things, we're not really present for anything. So that's the third invitation for you today. And I've been thinking of you, Kari, with your no music in the car over Lent. But that's a beautiful way to pay attention, to let go of multitasking and to be in the moment. So we are living closer to the reality of how fragile this all is, for sure. Our bodies, our planet, our relationships, our communities, because we know for sure how quickly things can change. It's reasonable to feel stressed right now. But I want you to know that's because you're not numb. And that's a gift. So again, knowing that we all arrive from different perspectives and places, we're going to take some time, just a few minutes, to share as we're moved. Do you feel stressed, anxious, and distressed right now? How do you manage it? Have you found that taking action or being outside or being present is helpful for you? Or what do you do to help with that? Love hearing the wisdom in the room. And to you who are part of our worship on the live stream, you're invited to journal, discuss with those at home, ponder these same questions. So, have at it. Finish your sentence. Would love to hear from 2 or 3 people who have brilliant insights.
That's why I stood up.
You're sure you have one?
Yeah, after what I've been.
You want to face the people?
Testing? Yes. So one of the insights is, we talked about walking out in the woods. And in Japan, that is a thing. Doctors actually prescribe people to go, what do they call it?
Forest bathing.
Forest bathing, right,
yes.
Exactly. So that's part of it. And then just, being in the present, but at the same time, being conscious of what's going on in the future. Like, so for me, what did I do? I took a little walk, do a little heart therapy, and then I caucused. So
a little walk and then he caucused.
That's right. So whether I'm here or not, democracy needs to march on.
Thank you. Any other insights to share? Anna.
I just typically do things with my hands, something so that I'm continuously moving so that I can help my brain stay more in the moment. Like, I've been folding up little origami cranes while we've been in service.
That's beautiful.
So that's what I do.
Love that. Anybody else?
Yeah, my sharing partner and I both have cats, and how they can bring us joy and laughter and companionship and comfort.
Thank you. Well, some of you have been asking what the divine feminine might have to do with worship or what we do, and this is part of it to me, living into what we believe, which is that I don't have all the wisdom. So thank you for unearthing that in the room for each other, for yourselves. So, beloved of God, we can be saved from our distress, at least a little, when we put our aches into action, participating in love and healing, when we give more of ourselves to that which is enduring, to being outside and in touch with how small we are in the scheme of space and time. We can be undistracted and fully present in the good and glorious here and now. May it be so. Amen.
Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicola Marsh, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be.